It's that time of week again, Sunday, 6 p.m. Tonight's guest will be Ralph Suddath, and he'll be talking about quantum healing um, and how to raise the voltage, which is one of the keys to keep me healthy and everything. In the meantime, though, I'd like to remind everyone we have the upcoming 2024 Extraordinary Technology Conference and Expo. Um, I'd like for everyone to start planning for it, and hopefully we'll get the room rates, down to like 80 in the 80s again. And and if you start planning now, 90% of coming to a conference is just planning for it in advance. Get this set up in your head. Hey, I'm going to be at that conference. Once you decide to do something, you start moving things in the background of reality that will make it happen. So set your sights and come into the conference August 7th and 11th. You know, between now and then, these airlines are going to be giving a lot of good discounts. Uh, if you can't fly, we have Amtrak goes right, within a mile of the hotel there. So we got Amtrak, we got Greyhound, we got uh, all the major airlines. Um, I think might be missing one or two, but it's an international airport, and we got the two interstates, 40 and I-25. One goes north and south, and one goes east to west. So hope to see you there, right on the intersection of the freeways there. It's the one place where you're going to actually meet people, real people, sit down, talk to them. Too often, we hear things. Uh, we see it on the internet. We see Zoom. Even this show. You see it. But it's not the same as actually sitting down there and talking with the inventor. You know, take them out for lunch. Uh, because in the evenings, I'm sure he'll want to stick around the hotel where we have some uh, some refreshments there. Like taco bars, chicken bars. We have a lot of stuff in the evenings. Plus the hotel, if you stay at the hotel, gives you breakfast. So the only thing you have to got to worry about getting would be lunch. It's the most cost-effective conference you're going to go to. But we have a lot. We'll be having a lot of great speakers that will be revealed in the near future, and that brings me to our call for papers. If you haven't gotten your abstract in, now's the time to do it. Time is flying fast. We're already at the Halloween is just around the corner. And of course, we're getting you know we're in the scary part of things where everyone's trying to scare you right now. But don't let all this stuff scare you. Get your paper in there, and who knows, you may be speaking at the conference. And it's a great opportunity to get to meet people. Get to teach others, this technology. This world is in a world of hurt. They're already talking within the next a couple of years. This planet may be almost too hot to live on. It's just incredible what's happening. We have the poles melting like crazy. We have the extreme weather all over the place. They're talking about, I guess that's going to be a super snowy winter in the Rockies there, or in the Western Mountains. Unprecedented cold in the Midwest. You know, and all this is being followed up by the extreme heat in the summer. So the technology is needed now. We need better batteries. We need new sources of energy. We need anti-gravity. You know, we need quantum healing. You know. Anyway, if you have, we'd like to see your ideas on it. So send us in a call for papers, and we'll be right in touch with you. Send them to Steve at testatech.info, or give me a call, 520-252-0374. I can't read your mind. And by the way, if you want to sign up for the registration, it's available now. And finally, last but not least, keep checking out our YouTube channel. If you're not a member, we ask that you do become a member. It's get to the exclusive level, $9.99 a month. That really helps us out and keep the stuff going. I'm still putting up the stuff from 1998, that Global Science Conference. A lot of stuff are going to be members only because If it's not members only, it's subject to getting censored really easy, and so anything that's controversial, I put up as a members only because I can't afford to get kicked off of YouTube. We're spreading the word out there, and I just can't encourage you enough to become a member. And if you have a problem finding things, we do have our conference directory at testatech.info. We also have a speaker directory. We're upgrading those up. We're adding more people even as we speak. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and bring up Ralph. There you go, Ralph.
Hi, Steve.
So anyway, you've been on our show before, and we just love the stuff that you did on water a couple months back. I encourage everyone to go back up to Steve's place and go check out that past talk video. But tonight you're going to talk to us about a different thing, quantum health. And
yeah, we did a show on my my Hydroxy technology, my water systems. But I also been, at the same time, I've been simultaneously working and finishing up my work on my spa equipment, and I call it spa equipment just to keep myself, from being attacked or whatever you might find when people start making health claims. That's when people get into trouble, when you get into health claims. And what I just saw was a way to approach health from the standpoint that we are electric beings. When I first read the book, what was it? I think it was called The Body Electric, back in the early 90s. And it turned out he was a colleague of my grandfather's. Golly, I can't believe my brain is. I just can't believe that. I can't think of the guy's name who wrote the book, The Body Electric. But anyway, it turned out he was a colleague of my grandfather's. My grandfather wrote his thesis on electrical fields and their effects on the human body. And so it was just kind of interesting that the world sort of turned their back on the type of research that, what we call now we know is Star Trek medicine. It's like light medicine or energy medicine. And I get why they did it, because the pharmaceutical industry opposed the competition, right? I mean, it's obvious. There's no conspiracy there. It's just the way the world works and the way human beings are. It's all about profit motive. And so energy medicine was just something that just got little to no attention. And most importantly, the universities were denied funding. And so they weren't allowed to explore this area, which is really sad, because we're here we are in this computer age with, this technological revolution going on, and with AI and everything going on. And we just dropped the ball when it comes to medicine. And it's not that, the pharmaceutical industry hasn't made great strides and made some wonderful discoveries. It's just that the approach that they've taken has sort of just taken us away from the true nature of the way the human body works. It's not like we're these drug deficient. Our bodies aren't drug deficient, right? They may be nutrient deficient, but they're not drug deficient. And I think I said at one of my last conferences, I said that the world doesn't realize this, but I mean, said the world doesn't realize it. Most Americans don't realize this, but 75% of the drugs that are produced in the world are consumed by the United States. And we make up 5% of the world's population. So 75% of the world's drugs that are manufactured by the pharmaceutical industry are consumed by the United States, and we make up 5% of the population, of the world population. And what I was trying to make people realize, and just sounding the bell, the alarm bell, was that these drugs don't just disappear once you swallow them. They go back into our environment. And so I said, the whole thing has got to be, it just has to be, we have to realize that the pharmaceutical industry may have been maybe just a step, one of the stepping stones that we had to go through to get to the Star Trek medicine age. And I'm fine with that, but we still, at one point, we have to realize that we just can't keep producing drugs and pumping out all these drugs. It affects the environment. It affects human evolution. It has so many negative consequences, right? And the way to approach it is to say, hey, okay, all right, has everybody made enough money now on, in the pharmaceutical world? Well, apparently not. They're not slowing down of anything. They've gained a lot of momentum, and so it just kind of forced me to realize that I thought people were going to eventually, we were going to be in the Star Trek age. 25 years ago, we were talking about the biofeedback instruments and the electronic healing devices and the different electronic medical treatments that they were slowly beginning to come out, and we saw a little bit of this energetic medicine squeezing through. A little bit of Rife technology got some notoriety using light frequencies, but to be perfectly honest, we just haven't done a good job in getting humanity. I guess I'm trying to find the right phrase. Is bringing humanity out of the fog and into the light, and saying, hey, you guys, we're electrical beings. What are we doing here? Why are we allowing this type of medicine to be accepted as the only alternative? And it's like, so yeah, I developed, or I should say, I back up. I discovered what every scientist and every doctor, a researcher, a student of medicine was looking for, and that's what basically powers the human body. It's been a quest for many scientists, especially I say when I just turned 60 years old. So I should say the people that I ran around with were 20, 25 years older than me. And so that group of scientists and doctors, that was something that sort of eluded them. And they couldn't find out where the power source was. Where was the power coming from that powered the human body? And it's very good. If you think was like, well, surely we know the answer to that. We're supposed to be smart, right? We got a lot of smart people that to work out the answers to that. But nobody basically really came up with a good answer until Dr. Tennant was able to comprise and put together a great deal of other people's work, scientists and medical researchers from around the world. And he compiled this information, and he was able to create the book, Healing is Voltage. He has another book, Healing is Voltage, Cancer's on Off Switch. He has several books. He's wrote probably the most important books ever to be written in terms of human anatomy or physiology, or human and understanding the human the electrical function, the electrical components to the human body and the functions of the human body and the body electric, right? And so it's like if we just veered our attention to that type of medicine and understood that we are these electric beings, and we're driven by voltage. And pH regulates voltage, so pH is getting a lot of attention. Everybody knows about the importance of pH, but pH regulates voltage, and so that's why pH is so important, because it regulates voltage. Voltage is the king, and so what I basically was working on for the last 25, 30 years was how to increase the voltage. How do we increase voltage of the cell, right? And I call myself more of an explorer or a medical detective, in the sense that I was exploring what actually powers the cell. And we figured out, okay, light powers the cell. Light converts to electricity, electrochemistry, and that the field was overlooked. The field. And so what I was able to reproduce is this field technology, and I developed this bed called the quantum energy wellness bed. And it was discovered by me working with stem cell scientists in the early 90s, developing these energy plates so that they could charge the stem cells. And what we discovered was, according to the doctors, they says I was increasing the voltage of the cells. He said there was no other explanation for their increased activity other than I increased their voltage. And I said, well, all I did was generate a field, and I put the cells in the field. And so it made me realize that we live in a field of energy. One, we're in a field. I mean, we're like fish unaware of the ocean, right? We're just swimming in this sea of energy. But this field is what powers the cells. And so I developed technology all around my discovery. I found these patterns in nature. I multiplied them by 3, 6, 9. I incorporated geometry. And I basically created this printing machine, a human printing machine, where I can imprint all of these codes into the body, but they basically generate and create energy fields, etheric energy fields, which support the cellular functions. But also what we've learned is this is what we've learned, that this increases human voltage, and there's a lot of things that decrease human voltage. You know, environmental toxins, negative thoughts. There's a dozen causes for why you have low voltage. Mostly it's our diets, a lot of synthetic artificial chemicals and things in our foods that the body has trouble eliminating, and that interferes with our voltage, right? So there's a lot of reasons why we live in a world where we are running as what I consider low voltage energy, right? As a human species or human population, I would say our voltage has dropped. It's not been raised, it's dropped. But what does that do? It makes us more dependent on the drug companies. So, and because why? Because our symptoms that we're more and more symptoms that we're coming out. Human beings are getting are being addressed by pharmaceutical chemicals to address those symptoms. But the cause has never been really a focal point, and the cause is always, it's behind everything. Low voltage. You don't get disease without going through inflammation, for example, right? You don't get disease without going through inflammation. Well, inflammation is our natural immune response, but what happens when inflammation converts to chronic inflammation? Well, that occurs and only occurs due to low voltage. Chronic inflammation is low voltage. Disease equals low voltage. So again, low voltage. How do we raise our voltage? And that's why I named my site raiseyourvoltage.us. Because it's about, all my technology is about raising your voltage. That's what we have to do. We have to raise our voltage. Steve, I believe I have some slides. You want to go ahead and turn them, see what we got here? Okay, yeah, right there. That's the quantum energy wellness bed. It's been out in the world now, going on, well, since 2019 actually. 2019 was the first beds were produced, and so we're going on 4 years now, and the picture below is my quantum energy wellness bed plus, because I'm incorporating some lights and some energy technology, basically a canopy that goes over the bed. So I'm just going to basically be saturating a person when they lay on the bed. I'm saturating them with light. And it's all about light storage, because light storage is what increases voltage. So approaching medicine this way is how we can rapidly heal. It's the future. Whether they let us have it now or 50 years or 100 years from now, it's still the future. It's the It's certainly the future's not in pharmaceuticals. I mean, if we continue on this path that we're doing, we're going to pollute. Well, in the United States, if we're consuming 75% of the drugs that are being produced worldwide, and you guys, are not getting told all the truth about these chemical memory is not just disappearing once you pee, after you take drugs and then we go to the bathroom and we pee out and into the toilet. Those drugs are in the pee, and that pee goes into the wastewater treatment plants, and there's some little bit of filtering going on, but mostly those chemicals are still in the water, and they're being recycled into nature and back into the lakes and the rivers and the streams. And so because they're synthetic, they don't break down that easily. They're not easily broken down. And so they're just sort of accumulating and building up. And I don't know, at one point, there's got to be a breaking point. And so that's what I'm most concerned about. This is the bed, the quantum energy wellness bed. It was my first breakthrough because, again, we started with a plate where we were charging stem cells. And I said, well, wait a minute, if I'm building these little plates for the stem cell doctors, why not try out, make a bed? So I bought a used tanning bed, and I developed the technology off of a used tanning bed, and then we just kept evolving, and we've incorporated sound and far infrared heat, and anyway, there's a lot going on there in that bed, but it's just basically like if you lay your cell phone on a battery charger. This is basically a human battery charger. You're laying on there, and your voltage goes up. And people say, well, how do you know your voltage is going up? Well, we've been able to determine it in several ways. One of them is obviously pH. You take your pH before you lay on the bed, and then you take your pH after, and your pH has been raised. Well, that means your voltages went up. And I've had doctors argue with me about that and say, well, there could be other alternative theories around that. And I says, okay, well, what do you guys think? So I've gotten the best minds that I could find to help me understand what I'm doing. But we've all basically finally have come to the consensus that I must be increasing the voltage. It shows it up on the microscope and everything else. So yeah, this is my company's Quantum MedTech, but I'm in the healing spa equipment business. We're doing very well. Okay, so go to the next slide, Steve. What we got? Okay, keep going. Okay, yeah, that's just the bed in action. What else you got? Okay, now we're getting into my Cogniva brain machine. That's a big deal. I mean, how many people are concerned about the fact that dementia and Alzheimer's and all these neurological diseases are really flaring up, and it's gonna affect a lot more people than we ever thought possible or realized, and it's going to become epidemic, in fact. And it's because brain inflammation is a big problem. I mean, it's what's behind epilepsy, it's what's behind autism, it's what's behind all the brain issues. I should say all. I think I can go out on the limb and say 90% of brain issues are due to an inflammatory action. In other words, there's inflammation that the body hasn't been able to deal with, but so it becomes chronic, and then that turns into what they call symptoms of disease symptoms, right? So it turns out inflammation is behind a lot of this. And so what my technology does is it gets rid of inflammation. In some cases, it can cause inflammation, but it turns on the inflammatory response, but then quickly turns it off. The way the human body is designed to function. We're supposed to get an inflammatory response, but it's supposed to turn off as fast as it can possibly do it, right? But what happens, the voltage isn't there to control that. And so this inflammatory condition becomes chronic, and then you get into disease state. And so addressing the inflammation, we can eliminate these symptoms, these disease symptoms, right? And so it's one of the greatest I think one of my greatest inventions is the Cogniva brain immersion technology, right? And go ahead and switch slides there, Steve. Now that was that's the quantum energy wellness bed again. Yeah, low voltage equals disease. Yeah, go on. Oh, there's my eyeball. Yeah, keep going. Oh yeah, well back up. No, Steve, back up to that one thing there. I think that's yeah, because again, this is what I was saying, and this is not, I don't want to get canceled or anything, but I'm just saying, I'm just pointing out that the increase in, our population is changing radically, right? It's just changing radically, and the human garden is is basically the soil is very deficient, and so we're producing humans that are nutrient deficient, and so we have to be smart enough as a human species to realize that the key to good health and all the way around is to have a good soil. We figured out, okay, we finally came to the realization and the importance of nutrients, right? That's why it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, a nutrient supplement business is such a big business. It's because we started figuring out that nutrients were valuable and very important. Well, they used to be in the soil, and we used to get them for free when we ate our foods. Well, about 50 years ago, they switched from once we depleted all the nutrients from the soil, we moved to this, what they call the NPK method for agriculture. The world food producers went to this new method of agriculture. It was considered the biggest breakthrough in agriculture at the time. But what it was is it's like a 5-mineral solution to growing food. It was very economical, but what it ended up causing a lot of the plants grew fast enough, and they looked like fruits and vegetables, but what they were really deficient, and what that ended up causing was again a disease state, and that disease state pretty much created the ag industry, because now they could produce all these herbicides and pesticides to put on our food, and then they got into the genetics. Altering the GMO technology, right? Because they were saying, well, if we change the gene, we can make it to where they'll be resistant to these bugs. Well, guess what? Nature, you can't outsmart nature. Nature is the smartest person in the room always, and what people don't realize is that bugs and plants have a relationship. They're friends. When plants don't have the proper nutrients, they put out a suicide call to the bug kingdom. Their frequency is low, and the bugs know to attack that plant. They have an agreement. It's part of the natural cycle. So it's all about producing food that has all the trace minerals and is allowed to grow to the way food is intended to grow all the way through, not vine ripened and not pre-picked because it didn't get to fully develop, right? So our food is our biggest problem, but because we're not addressing food like we should as an intelligent species, we're having to come up with all of these types of medical devices that help us fend off the symptoms that we're dealing with. And but I think in the future we're gonna, I hope if we survive, that we will figure out that it's not beneficial for us to always seek the profit motive, right? It's sometimes we just gotta figure out that profit motive isn't always the best road to take. Especially in medicine, right? Look at the situation we're in now, right? It's cost. I think my friends are telling me they're paying somewhere between $5,000 and $7,000 a month for medical insurance for their families. And I said, what the heck? I don't have insurance because I'm fortunate that I have resources, and I don't know what I would do if I broke my leg. I guess I'd have to pay a lot of money. but the truth of the matter is like that business model, it's unsustainable. I mean, I can tell you 30, 40 years ago, my family wasn't paying 10% of that for health insurance, right? I mean, they might have been paying a couple of $100 a month, but now it's up to $5,000, $7,000 a month to cover your family's insurance. And so, again, this is unsustainable. And again, at one point, this is going to hit the wall and it's going to blow up in our faces. And it's because we didn't do the work. We didn't put the time in. We didn't do the research on energy medicine. We didn't focus our attentions on actual technology that can wipe out the disease and eliminate the disease, and not just maintain the disease, which is what we're doing now. They're literally, I think they have secret laws in place that prevent us from curing diseases because it interferes with the profit centers, right? So it's like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me. And if if you argue it, that just means you're not that smart, because smart people would know that it's all about the profit, right? If you were smart. And so in order to be smart, I have to think profit motive. Everything has to be based on profit motives. But it's going to be the end of us if we continue down this road where profit motive is the goal, right? I was just pointing out that the world is changing. Human population is changing, and maybe it's just the natural cycle of humanity that we just can't help ourselves. We end up destroying ourselves, and then human beings, they start all over. I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Steve? I swear we're headed in the wrong direction. I hope that we have an incredible, enlightening breakthrough and turn things around. So these are all just statistics, based on the fact that again, 30 years ago it was this percentage, and now it's this it's 3 times, 5 times, 10 times more, right? I mean, autism, way on the rise. Alzheimer's, way on the rise. Dementia, way on the rise. Everything is on the rise. Nothing is getting diminished. And there's no cures, right? I'll tell you, right? So we have treatments, though. Nobody talks about cures. That word isn't even used in medicine now. They'll talk about treatments, but they don't talk about cure. In fact, that's a word I think it's been eliminated from the medical books. It's like we don't want to talk about cures. But they'll talk about treatments so they can maintain the problem, not fix it. And so, energy medicine is going to be the future. I'm kind of like, I think I've been like on the forefront. I've been working on my stuff for going on 30 years. I should, I think I've developed a number of technologies, and I think we're going to go through them. Go to the next slide, Steve. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, that's the quantum energy wellness bed. Go on. Okay, we talked about that, and there's the Cogniva brain machine, and it comes, by the way, Steve, I hope I have the pictures for it, but it comes with this sound system and these glasses that these AR glasses that I developed, that I imprinted information into the movie. So while you're underneath the brain machine, you're being immersed with sound, and then I have the technology built into these AR glasses. So you're just basically immersed in this light field. And so it's going to probably be the greatest technology for people suffering from brain inflammation for whatever symptom, whether it's epilepsy or dementia or whatever, traumatic brain injuries. Big deal for people with traumatic brain injuries. So I'm really excited that it's, it helped me. It saved me. I was diagnosed with dementia, and this is why I developed the technology. It was what brought me back to life. And so we are really excited about that. That just got. We just started getting going on that. I mean, I've spent years researching it and developed a number of prototypes, and we finally perfected it. So that's finished. What else we got? What's the next slide here? Okay, yeah, my Hydroxy therapeutic bath. This is something I been working on also for going 30 plus years. I read a paper I believe it was in 1992. It was a paper. I believe it was the article was "Hydrogen Against Aging" by Vladimir Volkov. Okay, he was a doctor from St. Petersburg, Russia. And anyway, in the paper, first of all, it was Russian, so I had to have it translated. But it was hydrogen against aging, and at the time, I was, and you knew me back then, Steve. I was working on steam engines and hydrogen, um, and I also was working on water because I saw that structured water was so different than regular water. It had a lot of healing properties, right? And nobody was actually talking about it. I was like, well, wait a minute, there's something here. But when I read the papers from the Russians, as I was seeking the fountain of youth, or at least I thought that it might exist, but the Russians had figured out that soaking in carbonic acid had a regenerative effect, and they were soaking mice. I believe the experiments where they were soaking mice in carbonic acid, and they extended their life 2 to 3 times longer. They live 3 times longer than the control mice, just by soaking the mice in the acid every single day. They said their skin improved, their eyesight improved. There was all these collected, and then okay, well, that was in the early 90s. Nobody was talking about it, so I began doing my research and experimenting, building these acid machines. A carbonic acid machine using Victor Schauberger's rotor. I developed a number of other rotors and the acid machine devices, and I was soaking the acid, and I would have my friends come over and soak, and then I developed a number of systems for that just for research purposes, and I began to see some incredible things happening. So I said, okay, so this is probably the closest thing to the fountain of youth as we're ever going to come up with, because people don't put these two together all the time. But you can't have aging without having dehydration. Dehydration and aging go hand in hand. We come into this world about 90% water. We end up about 70% water, and then as we get older, we end up at 50% water, and after that, they put us in the ground. So aging and dehydration go hand in hand, right? And so I developed this supercharged carbonic acid bath system that basically pushes right up to your tub and is going to charge your bath water and make it into energized carbonic acid. It's going to be really cool. It has a low surface tension. And basically, it's like putting grapes in the tub and they come out. I'm sorry, they put raisins in the tub and they come out grapes, right? So it's just going to be a rapid hydration, and that increases the body electric. All these things have to do also with the body electric and in raising your voltage. So that goes hand in hand. All right, what's the next slide? Oh, we're just talking about the bath, but yeah. So that's Steve. I don't have that yet. I'm working on that as we speak. I tried to get it done by the end of the year. It looks like we'll have the prototypes done by the end of the year, but production, we won't be able to go into production until probably early next year or the spring of next year. But I'm very excited about this. This is what I've been literally been working on it for over 30 years, and it's finally coming out. I mean, it took me long enough, right? 30 plus years to get it finally developed, but very excited about the potential because again, we're self-healing. We're God made us to self-heal, but we're not utilizing what God has given us, right? The ability to by increasing our voltage. Well, how do you increase your hydration? You increase your voltage. They absolutely go together. When you increase your hydration, you increase your voltage. And so I developed my whole system, my whole spa system, all around the concept of raise your voltage. And then we can eliminate the need for doctors. We can eliminate that. We won't have these symptoms of diseases and so forth, because all diseases are low voltage. None of this is this is all third grade stuff. And they, and I don't know, why they kept, it's obvious why they kept this truth from us, because it's a lot better to control us if we don't know how we function and how we work. And so the technology, this energy medicine revolution, which is going to happen, whether it's in my lifetime or when I'm gone, it's going to happen because it works. And so people eventually are going to, you know, come to that realization, and they're also going to get tired of taking drugs that get rid of one symptom and cause two more, right? So that's, you know, that's an eventuality as well. Eventually, people are going to, you know, come to that realization. All right, what's next on the slides? Okay. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah. Okay. Well, now we're talking about. Okay, this is my machine. I've developed this technology, and it was really cool. I got to meet George Weissman there at the show, and he was doing his Brown's gas vapor, you know, that hydrogen vapor. And I was really fascinated because I've been hearing a lot of people, you know, of course, I've been in the game for over 30 years, but I mean, I was hearing a lot of people talking about this, you know, hydrogen rich water. And I'm going, yeah, hydrogen rich. I said, that's what I do, I guess. When with my water systems, I free up the water, because what happens when water becomes stagnant, all the molecules clump together. And so it's like having, you know, $10,000 in $100 bills, but they're all glued together in a stack. It's like, well, the money's there, but if they're all glued together, you're not getting, you know, you're not getting the real value, right? Well, that's the way with water. Water molecules are super powerful, right? Water molecules are super powerful. Hydrogen and oxygen, right? The two big super elements and what we're mostly made up of. But what happens is that when they lose their charge, when water goes stagnant, they lose their charge and they clump together. And so it's like you're swallowing a stack of bills instead of a whole bunch of one piece at it, one bill at a time, right? And so you don't get the currency that you could. And so that's what I thought, when you energize water, that's what you're doing, is you're charging those molecules, and you have free hydrogen, free oxygen, right? And by the way, that's the way nature. It's not like we, you know, did something amazing. What do you mean? I copied nature, and you know, I'm getting credit for being smart. Okay. But the point is that's what we realize, is that when water sits and becomes stagnant, the molecules lose their charge and they clump together like glue, and they just clump together. And so hydrogen rich water has gotten really popular and is making a big boom. And then George has this product, this Brown's gas, pure hydrogen. Well, I guess there's a little bit of mixture there, oxygen mixture, but it's mostly hydrogen. And but I said, well, I'm going right down the same trail that these other guys are going on. I made a hydroxy vapor where I supercharge the water, and then I put it in an electrolyzer, and I make this super vapor. Well, this vapor is amazing. So I incorporated it into my hydrosauna. I don't know if you have a picture of my hydrosauna there, Steve. Flip through there. See. Oh, there it is. There's my hydrosauna. Yeah, so my hydrosauna has all the technology I could put into the far infrared panels. I put it in sound and a whole bunch of different things into the lounge chair. And then I have this water machine where I energize the water, and then I have my hydroxy vapor machine that also goes in there. So basically it's the Rolls Royce of saunas, in that you can go in there and you heat up, and then you turn on the hydroxy vapor and it cools you down, but it also at the same time hydrates you and heals tissue, regenerates tissue. And so very happy. I love my hydrosauna. I'm looking forward to it. I'm taking a winter break, and I'm taking my hydrosauna to the mountains. So I'm going to be in my hydrosauna very shortly. Looking forward to it. Okay, so what else? What's next? Yeah, but the key to my technology is the hydroxy vapor, right? It's the key to why it's so magical, and why it's the best technology out there, I think. It's a whole spa in one, because you're just getting all the benefits, and you come out feeling better than you can ever. I can't even describe how good you feel. And so, yeah, go on, moving on. What else we have here? Yeah, it is the BioLight storage that increases human voltage, and that in turn maximizes our human potential. So again, it's like, the discovery I made? I figured out BioLight storage. BioLight storage was the key. And I figured out with these 0-point antennas, and that attract a lot, and that generate these fields, and these fields are what power the cells. I mean, everybody's trying to, got these medical equipment, medical devices, but they're like trying to, jumpstart a human cell with a car battery. I mean, it's just too much, right? I mean, think about what kind of battery that's inside of a human cell, that the subtle energy that it takes to power that cell, right? So it's in the 0-point family. The energy, the 0-point energy family is what powers the universe. And it's what powers us, right? It's a field energy. It's the field. Okay, moving on. Oh, that's my little doggy bed. They made me manufacture a doggy bed. They said the doggies I guess doggies need love too, and so I made a healing bed for the doggies. Okay. Yeah, the Tesla Star. Well, that's coming. That's the future. I had to put that on hold. Going up, moving on. Moving on. Okay. What else we got? Yeah. Steve, is one of the things. Okay, can you show my Cogniva video that my brain machine? We've just really got this finished, and I'm more excited about it because most people.
In today's world, there's little to no access to safe treatments for the brain and nervous system without the use of chemicals and drugs with often inconvenient side effects. According to the works of Dr. Jerry Tennant, inflammation in the brain and other parts of the body is a direct response to low voltage in that region. With low voltage levels in the brain, symptoms such as headaches, nausea, brain fog, as well as more serious conditions such as dementia and CTE can result. Introducing the new Cogniva brain therapy system, one of the only devices available on the market dedicated to treating brain inflammation and other associated conditions. This technology was originally developed for exclusive use in the area of brain stimulation for medical and physiological benefits. Cogniva is known to be effective in alleviating symptoms of traumatic brain injuries and as a treatment for dementia patients. Able to treat the frontal, temporal, and occipital points, these treatments encourage your brain to release serotonin naturally, which helps control and calm anxiety, tension, anger, mood swings, and the feeling that some describe as being fight or flight. After an undetermined number of treatments, you will notice your anxiety disappear, and a feeling of alertness, energy, ability to focus, and improved memory. By enhancing cognitive performance, we would be able to change the lives of millions suffering from memory loss, neurological or psychological disorders. Restorative processes like stroke rehabilitation would also gain from the technology. Overall, this can help reduce the cognitive effects of aging. Euphoria brain treatments activate regions of the brain that promote alertness and improves cognitive performance. It can also help to stimulate the process of nerve conduction, promote the differentiation of neural stem cells, and improve the oxygen content of red blood cells in blood circulation. It also penetrates the blood-brain barrier, providing your mind with an abundance of hydration and fresh energy. Fluids flow throughout your whole body more freely, which provides your brain with more energy and all the fluids it needs, which enhances your mental clarity. Cogniva is the most effective device on the market for treating and alleviating painful symptoms of brain-associated conditions. However, it can also be used effectively for healthy individuals for overall brain and mental health, as well as improved cognitive function. We truly believe that the Cogniva is a pioneer in effective non-invasive treatments that will represent a paradigm shift towards more holistic health.
Yeah, we just made that little informative video. And I'm more excited about this because, again, most people don't realize that we're all kind of suffering from a little bit of acute inflammation, brain inflammation. Mostly it's because of our diets, because we a lot of our foods are inflammatory, and it just affects our brains. And then people that call it brain fog. I mean, there's all kinds of names for the symptoms. I mean, just not feeling good or being in a depressed state. Guess what? Depression is inflammation. And so people aren't understanding the importance of a drug because nobody's figured out how to do it. They're trying to come up with a drug that gets rid of inflammation. That's what they're trying to do for the brain. If they came out with a drug that got rid of inflammation, that's the drug that they're looking for. And so nobody wants to figure out, hey, well, we don't actually need a drug. We can actually do this, energetically through technology, and we don't need pharmaceuticals to save us here, right? But again, the problem is you don't need to keep buying drugs when you get under my brain machine, right? It actually allows the brain to increase the voltage wherever it's needed, and it does what it needs to do, and then the inflammation markers disappear. And so I'm more excited about right now the Cogniva than anything else. I'm looking forward to my my Fountain of Youth bath, system. But right now, the brain machine is really the most exciting thing that I've developed, and I'm super happy with the results. So there's been a number of them. There's a number of my systems out there, and we're helping so many people. I'm so happy that we've been able to save so many people's, or change so many people's lives, or give people back their lives, right? Give them back their brains. It turns out, man, your brain is everything. If your brain ain't working, life sucks. It's not fun. And so I found that out firsthand. And it was this technology that brought me back after I was diagnosed with dementia from a traumatic brain injury I suffered when I was 20. And so again, it saved me, and it saved a lot of people. I mean, the testimonials are coming in, but it works. So I'm really happy with that. And I'm our raiseyourvoltage.us site. It's got a map where people can go and look and see if there's a place near them that they can access my equipment or our equipment, and try it for themselves, or if they know someone who's dealing with a brain injury issue, right? The big thing is that hydroxy vapor is helping people who are having breathing issues. I mean, how many people you see walking around now with oxygen tanks, strapped to them? Because nobody talks about that. That's inflammation too. It's like that's inflammation in your breathing, the areas why we breathe. But it turns out when you hydrate, I guess whatever that increases the voltage, well, whatever the inflammatory markers disappear. So all our technology, all my systems are designed to either directly hydrate you, or just naturally just increase your voltage. And so my whole system is about keeping us out of the doctor's office. It's not meant to cure anything. It was designed to keep our voltage up so that we don't get into trouble. That was what I designed it for. I didn't know I was going to be, have all these other side effects, like people, their conditions are completely gone into remission or things like that. You hear those stories quite often. But again, the technology and the concept behind my medical or my spa equipment is to keep your voltage up so that you don't get into trouble, and so that you don't have to face these challenges like cancer and some of these other disease states that we're all, seem to be, we're running toward it. As we get older, we're running straight toward that stuff, and it's just not fun. I mean, I don't want to be one of those guys that, in the coffee, like my grandpa and his friends, they go to the coffee shop and talk about our doctor's appointments and and what all symptoms we're dealing with and all that. I said, we don't have to live in that world. We were designed to live to be 120 years old, and yet we're getting, we're falling apart in our 60s and 70s, right? And so it's like, wait a minute, we're doing something wrong. We're doing something wrong here, and I think we all know that. And but we got to have, so yeah, I think this technology that I developed is just it's just moving us in the right direction in the world of energy medicine. A lot of good products out there. I'm not the only one. I'm not never claiming to be the only one, nor do I want to think that I got all the solutions. I just know that my technologies work, and I'm looking forward, that this is the future. That if I, I'm not trying to go up against the big pharma or anything like that. I just want people to have the alternative. And if this helps them, great. If it doesn't, okay, well, we tried. It's certainly, again, nobody realizes how important voltage is. And I figured out it is super important. It is the most important thing. And so I tried to address it with my technology, and I spent a long time working on it. You know, half my life actually. So it's been what do you say? It's been a wonderful, a joyful adventure. But I've come to the end where I finally decided I had to, almost like college kids is like, man, at one point you got to graduate, you got to go out and get a job. You know, it's like, it was a lot of fun learning. It's like it's way more fun learning than it is to actually go out and get to work. But I finally had to realize, well, all the things that I learned, I had to start applying and making things with the things that I've learned, because I studied under so many wonderful scientists and doctors and engineers. And I just felt it was necessary that I finish the work that that they were working on, that I was working on, and that we made something from our efforts that are so that our lives mattered, right? And so, yeah, that's my presentation, Steve. What do you think? You gonna let me rant? You gonna jump in here?
Well, I'm back. Well, it's a pretty good presentation. You know, you had a few more slides here.
Well, I stop right there. Listen, yeah, this is the Carillion photography. It talks about, but again, nobody talks about field, right? The energy field, like the food. The human body has the same kind of field, but that's all voltage right there, what you're looking at. I mean, everything is energy, right? And so, yeah, I mean, the life force energy, I mean, and so all I'm doing is I'm talking about increasing the voltage, and how much voltage can a human body hold? You know, I mean, that's what I'm excited about. I'm excited about what the potential, the human potential, the real human potential. I mean, things that Jesus talked about, Buddha, and Krishna, they were all about, you know, that human beings had these incredible powers and incredible abilities, and that we too could be, you know, like them, right? They just gave us they were the example. And so, yeah, I just think that we're going to come of this age where we're going to figure it out eventually, that we're all energetic beings, and if we can learn how to increase our light storage, we can become super beings. And then, you know, then let's see what happens after that.
Well, I don't know if you've been watching your comments, but there's this one gentleman who's harping about, I guess Tim was supposed to be saying it's supposed to be a more negative voltage. You know, so he wants you to change your slides from razor voltage, but
razor. Okay, first of all, is he talking about the negative voltage, where it was like cells are like minus 50 millivolts?
Something like that, probably.
Okay, yeah. Well, I mean, listen, you know, I'm not going to get into go down the rabbit hole of the detail. The point is, raise your voltage, whether it's negative voltage or voltage, it's still voltage. I'm not going to say raise your negative voltage. Anyway, I get his meaning though.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I'm looking forward to next year, you know, and hopefully I have some of your devices there. You know, people could try them out at the conference. I never got a chance to lay in the bed, you know. I think always something comes up and how that goes, and then when I had a chance, you know, it's being taken, you know. So
I didn't realize that, Steve. Yeah, we were taking people's pictures of people's blood before and after. We had a lot of fun. It was good. It was real good.
So, but I'm looking forward to next year, and I think, you know, the autism part really gets to me, because I have a family member who's autistic. Heck, I think I'm autistic, and in fact, I think most geniuses are slightly autistic, because you gotta be, because that's the way you can focus, you know. Otherwise, you get distracted too easy, especially in today's world.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of autism communities are using my technology with incredible results. It's a big deal. Again, it's, guess what? Because autism, people say, what is autism? I mean, it's inflammation. Those poor children, you know, poor people. I mean, they have these inflammatory responses that they can't control. Low voltage is behind autism. And so in this inflammatory conditions in their brain and in their whole body, it's just, oh man, I just imagine what that's like. But bless their heart. But yeah, my technology is giving them a big relief. It's a big deal.
Yeah, and like Elon Musk technology, you don't have to plug in, to take advantage of the Cogniva machine.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean, I'm not gonna even plug my brain in anything. It's bad enough, like I had to watch a lot of crap, but yeah. So, is what else you got planned on for next year? Just basically focused on the
I'm just going to finish up the inventions. I got my bath. We're working on. We're going to finish it up hopefully this winter and be in production next year. And then the Tesla Star is going to follow that. And then we're going to upgrade. Yeah, I'm just slowly just getting everything wrapped. My water systems finished. My pool unit. No more chemicals in our pool. I mean, how wonderful! The Hydroxy unit that's coming out next spring.
well,
So
here we have Paul. He was at our conference, and he got to lay on your bed. And he says he got 10 minutes and they helped his SI joint from a car wreck.
oh,
So,
really? Oh, cool. Okay, thanks, Paul. Yeah. I only got 10. I wonder why I only had 10 minutes. Most people got. Oh, there he is, Robert Becker. Yeah, my grandfather was colleagues with Robert Becker. I just forgot his name. I had my brain. I could talk about low voltage. I'm just tired. But yeah, Robert Becker was kind of like one of the early pioneers when he wrote the Body Electric. But it was fascinating because at the time you had all these incredible doctors, incredible scientists, but yet they would not fund research on the body electric. No funding. No universities got funded. In fact, they frowned on you if you even applied for funding. And so the
well,
body was just completely ignored. But I'm just so grateful for Robert Becker. I'm so grateful for Jerry Tennant because these guys have wrote the books that are going to be just foundation of our health in the future.
well, the inside story on Robert Becker is he was doing great until he come out and said that 60 hertz is bad for you. That's where everything started taking a turn for him. They turned against him, you know. But this technology, of regrowing limbs and everything, well, NASA runs like microcircuits, my micro currents in their astronauts. And they keep the calcium into the bones, while they're in anti-gravity up there. And then they turn around and they use the quicken healing, so they know about it. And I believe they're a lot further along than the other public, because that's just the way it is. I mean, some of the stuff I've seen, like in the military and that, back in the 80s, that's the hot technology today, and they can't get enough of it, like the atmospheric lasers and everything that they use to shoot down missiles now and everything. That's old school, but most people don't never heard of it before, So it's just what they're letting people see today, But anyway, I'd like to thank you again for being on at the conference and everything. And I do want to encourage people again to take and get your paper, your abstract in for the call for papers, and start planning. Start planning the for the conference and everything, and be sure, go over to your YouTube channel there, and down below, hit that thumbs up button because that really helps us with the search engine. And thank you, Ralph, for being our guest tonight. And I'm sure we'll see you in the future.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Steve. Yeah, everybody support Steve because this, we need to keep this alternative pipeline, flowing. We have to keep it's the only other that shares the type of technology and information, and you've been doing it for so long, Steve. I mean, what an incredible library that you established.
I've been doing this since 1984.
Yeah,
and right now we have all of the global science conferences. We're getting ready to put them online. I have all the exotic research and the extraordinary technology. Soon we'll be getting all the conference on free energy up there. And then after that, we'll be getting the original Tesla Society stuff but those need to be converted into DVDs first. So anyway, I'd like to thank everybody, and we'll see you next week. And like I say, be sure to go hit that like button. I'll talk to you later. Thank you so much for being a guest.